I bet you're a faceless YouTuber who likes to use clips from popular videos or music in your content. You see others do it all the time, but you're plagued with copyright claims on your content, and you want to know why. I make a living by making faceless YouTube videos using AI tools, and I know how faceless channels avoid copyright on YouTube. One of the most important things that you need to know about copyright claims is fair use. More specifically, you need to understand what fair use is, why it's important to making videos, and why you're likely breaking it. Fair use is a doctrine in United States law that allows limited use of copyrighted material without having to first get permission from the copyright holder. So if someone makes some sort of original content, like a song or a movie, and you use it in your video in a transformative way, then your video falls into fair use. Relax Tom from Shaftesbury, England. We'll get into the different steps that you can take to make content more transformative. But the reason why it's important to have your content fall under the banner of fair use is that it allows you to fight any possible copyright strikes. Fending off claims like these can be a lot easier when you have proof that your content is actually transformative. You can transform the content in multiple ways, such as adding commentary, providing your opinion, adding new music to it, or even just editing it enough. I'll tell you my favorite AI tool for transforming content later in the video, but how much do you have to change to make that new content transformative? Well, that's actually one of the biggest challenges that people face when it comes to understanding fair use, is that there are no clear rules. Your content can only qualify as fair use if you have changed it in some way. If you added fancy graphics and text, commentary and music, and most importantly, are likely not siphoning off viewership from the original creator, your content falls under fair use. But again, that begs the question, how transformative does it have to be? Since there aren't any clearly defined rules for fair use, it usually means that fair use is often decided on a case-by-case basis. For instance, a Bomber Guy can make a 3-hour-plus video on Deus Ex Human Revolution, where he talks about the game, its development, and even the previous games in the series. Despite him going into intricate details about the game's mechanics, story, and enemies, giving viewers a detailed understanding of the game similar to one they would get by playing the actual game. But since he added a lot of new and insightful commentary, made connections between problems that both games in the series share, and even has a few dubbed sketches, his video can count as fair use even when it plays through all of the game's cutscenes and gameplay sections shot for shot. However, something like React content can be seen as much less transformative since they are not adding as much value to their content. However, it's important to know that these are two very extreme cases of fair use. You don't have to make a 3-hour-long video about a decade-old game for it to be considered fair use. Alright, stop. Before I can actually tell you how faceless channels avoid copyright on YouTube, it should be said that I'm obviously not a lawyer and don't keep track of the legal system. The advice that I'm giving you has been acquired through my own experience. I've gotten a lot of copyright claims, content ID claims, and have had accounts terminated for copyright strikes. I've generally dealt with all sorts of issues when trying to get my channels on track. Through all of that experience, I've learned how to run my YouTube channel without worrying about any strikes. I've talked about why it's important that you curate your content for fair use and how it is a big gray area. But enough of all that theoretical stuff. It's time to get into the practical steps as to how you can improve the quality of your content according to YouTube's policy. These steps are built around addressing the core issues that come with taking content from other sources like character of use, sources, amount, and impact. In each of these steps, I'm going to explain to you how you can address these issues without having to spend any money. A key aspect of transformative use is adding new value or function to the original content. Pictory is my favorite AI tool for transforming content, and using Pictory can help you merge text, visuals, and AI-generated voiceovers, offering a new perspective, critical review, or educational insight that wasn't present in the original media. You can try it for free, no credit card required, using my link in the description. But you really should consider subscribing if you really want to make the best text-to-video AI videos possible. Use the code DEBTBUSTERS to get 30% off your subscription. And before you ask, yes, you can create YouTube videos using only AI and make money online from Google AdSense. Yes, that includes using AI voices. Yes, that includes GPT-written scripts. Yes, that includes AI video. And yes, the big YouTuber who told you that you can't be misinformed is probably just a paid actor. The possibility of monetizing AI-powered YouTube content is endless. This particular step refers to how much you are transforming the content. Are you adding edits to the new content to make it look like something different? Are you adding your opinions or commentary to the original video? What aspects of the video are you even changing, if any at all? These are the main types of questions that will often pop up when considering the character of your work. But moving on, you want to make sure that the value you're adding to the new video is actually valuable. So for instance, if you just pop a small square at the end of a video frame and add commentary from time to time, your commentary is only 30% of the actual video, so 70% of the video is still about someone else's work. But even if you want to focus on commentary, you need to make sure that it is coming from a place of expertise, which is why police officer reactions to shootouts in movies are always fair use. Not only are they adding something of value to their video, but their unique insight is the main selling point. But it's not just the commentary. You can also add value with things like cool edits or adding songs to it. However, in some cases, all of these things need to happen together to make your content more worthwhile. Here is where things start to get interesting. Along with seeing what kind of value you bring to the table, you also need to consider the source of the copyrighted work. So the songs, videos, or even commentary that you have used in your work need to be from a source that is not heavily copyright protected. For instance, if you use a popular song in the background of your video, the video itself might be free from copyright strikes, but the song is not. You want to make sure that all of the content that goes into your video is completely safe from any possible scrutiny. You especially want to avoid content from major media companies who are especially litigious with their copyright strikes. In fact, they often have teams dedicated to finding instances of copyright being breached. So companies like Sony, Warner Media, Disney, and basically anything that is even in the realm of Hollywood. If it's from Hollywood, you probably don't want to include it in your video unless it specifically relates to it. Instead, you can just make use of some very popular video and sound libraries that are completely open source. So not only can you use them in your content, but they are often free and you don't have to credit them. See, Tom, there's something here for you too. You want to be especially careful when using music, since even small snippets of popular songs can have your video copyright claimed. A similar situation happened to YouTuber Nakey Jakey, who used the initial 4 seconds of Careless Whisper in his 30-minute video, and it got copyright struck by the music label. The next thing that you want to be careful of is how much of the copyrighted work you are using. Now, this is a little interesting since there are actually two parts to it. One refers to the literal amount that you have added to your content, and the other is the thematic amount of the copyrighted content added. So if you include an uncut 20 minutes of a movie to your 30-minute video, you are not adding enough value. You need to break those sections up into smaller chunks, and you want to make sure that valuable commentary or edits are breaking up those sections. This is one of the ways Oddbomber Guy has been able to get away with talking about entire shows like Sherlock without a copyright strike. Next is the thematic amount of the copyrighted work. This could be the chorus of a song or the big reveal of a movie. Since these clips hold the most thematic weight out of the rest of the film, there is a lot of pressure on you to make sure that you use them wisely. A copyright strike in these cases is completely valid. This puts the 10-second rule to bed, since the core clips can be much shorter and still have the same effect. You preferably want to avoid these types of clips entirely or add the most valuable commentary after these sections. Finally, we move on to the impact that your work has on the market. This is possibly the most important part of how your work functions, as it can possibly override everything else. For instance, if the new content that you have made is directly competing with the copyright holder's work, then it is very likely that you will be hit with a copyright strike. In this instance, you can look at a situation like XQC versus Lamino. While Lamino made the initial documentary, XQC made a reaction video that he uploaded to the exact same platform, YouTube. But not only was his reaction not transformative, it was actively competing against Lamino's video. Therefore, even though he didn't get hit with a strike, sending one out on this would be completely valid. This is also where compilation videos come in, as they take away from the value that the original videos could likely have provided. It's important that you understand that making faceless videos with AI is a fairly old and very lucrative industry. People make thousands every month with these automated channels, and they know how to exist on YouTube without having to worry about possible copyright strikes. In fact, some channels have been around when copyright strikes were being abused by music labels and media companies. The idea is that you want to make a good video on a specific niche that has a higher CPM without having to put in any new footage yourself. Instead, you add existing clips of videos on YouTube to yours and even have an AI generator write your script. So basically, it's an infinite money glitch. And I know you're thinking that this is insane. It's a pipe dream. There's no way to passively earn money off YouTube, but I'm here to tell you that it is possible, and plenty of people have managed to make an automated channel their primary source of income. Care to join us? Use my link in the description to try an absolutely free YouTube course that can grow your channel from $0 to $10,000 in profit on YouTube without showing your face or using your own voice. But with that out of the way, let's start with the character of use. If you really want to get into making a career out of automating your YouTube channel, then these tips are paramount to your success. Not only will they help you avoid copyright strikes, but they will not villainize you in the eyes of the YouTube community. Now you just need to know how to make viral videos, and I've got 3 insane tools that will help you do just that.